film Smile 2 kept getting called the scariest movie of the year, and we need to talk about that because I did go and see it. But before we get into that, let me introduce myself. Hi, I'm Morgan, and here we do all things spooky. We do scary movie chats, we do folklore chats, we do scary stories. It's everything. We do everything spooky, and if that sounds fun, and if you're still in the mood for spooky stuff even after October, I would love to have you here. Now please check out below. You will find where to send your scary stories, my other social medias, my Patreon, everything like that. That'll be your lifeline below, so please check that out. And without further ado, let's get into this chat, because there was some heavy things put behind Smile 2, calling it the scariest movie of the year, which I take with a grain of salt. I really do, because why is every movie getting that title this year? Have you guys noticed that? I feel like it's worse this year than previous years, but anyways. So Smile 2 kind of follows the same premise as Smile 1. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Smile 1, it basically introduces this illness, this entity, this disease, this demonic force, kind of all of that just mixed into one thing, right? It spreads by you watching someone with it die. So what happens is you see someone take their own life in front of you that has this illness. It then bounces onto you. Within a week, you lose your mind and then take your life in front of someone else. And it bounces from person to person like that. See what I'm saying? So in the second one, we follow this getting bounced to a pop star when her friend takes his life in front of her. And I was really interested whenever I saw the previews of this movie come out and seeing how that worked, how she dealt with the public eye being on her with that, because that's not what we saw in the first one. But I did not plan on seeing this movie. I'm gonna be so honest with you. I was not that big a fan of the first one. I thought the jump scares were cheesy. I thought the storyline followed too closely to things we've seen before, like The Ring and all that. It was kind of a similar plot line, right? Like the 7 days thing. Really wasn't interested. And then to make matters worse, every trailer I saw of Smile 2 was telling me way more information that I needed just to want to see it. Like, I can tell you from seeing it, you pretty much know the entire plot line. There's a few, like, pops of things you didn't know in the plots, but for the most part, you went in knowing all of the big reveals. And I hate that, and I wish movies would stop doing that. Smile 1 did that with one of the jump scares. There's a specific jump scare in Smile 1 where she's in the car and like the woman's coming to her car and her neck like snaps around at the window. That would have been so cool to see that firsthand in the movies. And I will give it to them this time. I think they learned, at least from the jump scares, because the jump scares were very well hidden. You did not know when they were coming in the movie. But the first Smile did ruin the best jump scare. Now, do I think this is the scariest movie of the year? I actually might. Okay, hear me out. Jump scare wise, I have not seen anything rival that except for Oddity. Oddity had some really intense jump scares. But jump scare wise, it was good. They really weren't that cheesy. They were really like well put into the story to where like you were like, maybe they're coming, maybe they're not, and then bam, like you didn't really have time to think about it. They were really well done. There was one jump scare in particular. The main girl's like watching a video on her phone, and my body was prepped for the jump scare to happen on that phone screen, right? So when the jump scare happened beside of her, I folded in half backwards, almost landed in the floor. My husband caught me. I don't think I've jumped that hard since watching The Dark and the Wicked. That was a jump scare. And even if I hated the movie, that jump scare alone would have given it a solid 5. But what gave it the highest score for me was the ending, because I don't think they could have ended this movie better than they did, and the way they set it up for the next one being this big thing, and I hope they utilize that and do it. I'm really excited. It gave the sort of ending of like Incantation vibes, if you've seen that. I am so pumped for the next one if they do it, and I'm so excited that I listened to the hype and went to see this movie, because like I said, I was gonna wait for it to be streaming, but people kept saying this is the scariest movie of the year. Like, it kept getting so much talk, and I was like, let's go see it. So my husband and I went for a little date night. We were in a crowded theater. There was a group of girls sitting in front of us. And when I tell you, there's no way one of them slept that night. I don't think they went into their liking scary movies. They looked petrified. They were screaming. It was like guttural fear coming from them, and it just made the experience so much better, because there is nothing better than watching a scary movie with a group of people and all of y'all getting scared together. It is the best thing. So with that being said, if this is still playing by the time this is out, I'm sure it will be, please go to the theater and see it. It is worth the watch. Watch the first one before if you can, but I've pretty much given you enough information. You might be a little bit confused on how the beginning's so significant if you don't see the first one, but otherwise you should be able to stay caught up. But that is all for today. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. Go see this movie, watch the first one if you can, and yeah, let me know what you think. Bye.